Hello and welcome to Web3 TV. I'm Lisa Amnagard, and today we're at the STEP conference here in Dubai. Joining me right now is Brian Keane, CEO and co-founder of Diagen AI. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Great to meet you, Lisa, and thank you for having us, or having me.
And how's it going today? How's everything going?
It's going great. We actually, no pun intended, stepped upon this conference. We were in town for the AI Revolution conference this past weekend, which was great because we met a lot of practitioners, and we're doing a lot of strategy as we scale our AI for drug discovery business into the region, specifically Dubai. And so it's been great. And this conference, having the indoor-outdoor feel, has been just amazing.
And just the amount of startups that are here. And
it's
there's
incredible.
Tech everything.
Yeah,
and
it's a revolution, really, on
the
way things are happening.
You're in the tech bio space, right?
Yes, yeah. So that's something interesting because we're addressing the unmet needs and the sort of the delays and the costs that are associated with the traditional drug discovery space, and that's always been in the biotech or pharma space. So there's just a new emerging area and sector called tech bio, which is going to be the future of how drugs are discovered, and that's the business that we're in.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit how you started Diagen AI and sort of what is the mission of the business.
Yeah, for sure. So I've spent most of my 25 years career. I'm a former lawyer, but I spend most of my time advising wealthy families and principally investing. And so with that skill set, I've also been fortunate enough to basically incubate companies for those families and obviously advise a lot of the smarter people that are around me, including PhDs and AI scientists. And I got into this space about 5 years ago. So we've had multiple exits. And this particular vertical that we apply, the AI sort of platform that we have in drug discovery is very much wide array, but every sector and every point we're in is super applicable to the space. And so I had seeded this particular company 3 years ago. Our scientists have proved out the model. We have tons of validation with our partners, and I was asked to join as chairman to lead the liquidity and the capital market side of the business, which I've been doing for the last year or so.
So if you were to just give an elevator pitch of Diagen AI, what do you guys do?
Yeah, no, thank you. So it's two parts of our business. We computationally and mathematically build new molecules to provide certainty because there is a huge problem in the space, and AI in our minds is all about problem solving. And so most of drugs fail, north of 90%. A lot of the drugs that do get approved are very toxic and get pulled from the market. It's about 30%, loose on these statistics. And we found that utilizing AI to build new molecules to de-risk them in the future is going to become the way that drugs are discovered. So we do that for our own account. We have an interesting partnership with the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And then what we've decided to, when I came on board, is understanding the existing landscape of companies, the traditional drug discoverers, much like Web3 is changing Web2, and the internet changed everything years back. We think that utilizing AI and helping those companies that do drug discovery, again, use analogy, the snail mail way or the slower way, by implementing AI as a tool, we can go in and do three things for the company. One, we can identify or potentially build a new target or molecule with them to take that drug to market. Two, we can look at their existing molecule to help optimize it using AI. And then one thing that we just started doing, which is how do we do sort of a reclamation? A lot of money is spent in drug discovery. Those molecules have failed. And so we go back in and we take all that data because it's very much data driven. Yeah. And we take the data from those failed molecules and see how we can potentially optimize them and then take them back into the market.
Okay, so, but the one thing that AIs can't really do, because it's based on data,
correct,
is find, let's say, a new molecule. Because if the data is not there,
yeah,
how would they know?
So so it's a great question. So there is a ton of available peer-reviewed data out there that we can put into our algorithm and our platform that we continue to iterate. And then each company has their proprietary data. So much like they've historically discovered drugs in the wet lab, we still need to take that step to take what we build computationally, given all the available data, and then prove those molecules in a wet lab to make sure that it could live in animals or humans, and then take it to a certain point to then almost have so much validation that we have the ability to then take that as an asset and potentially sell it to a big pharmaceutical company.
Okay, and when it comes to navigating regulatory spaces, why is the UAE interesting for your company?
Great question. So we were here last year with the Expand North Star conference. We were just out here trying to see what kind of investors from the region that have descended upon Dubai to fund new startups, because we are still technically a startup. And we had a great success there. We were chosen out of 1,800 companies as one of the 150 finalists. And then we were also chosen by the Minister of AI to meet with him privately. So we understood that the economies of scale here and the ability to raise capital and domicile a subsidiary here in the region is something that would be great for our shareholders to create value. But also, one thing that is crucial to all AI companies that you see here and across the country involves power and compute power. So a lot of the big companies that provide GPU and compute power are coming into the region to subsidize that for companies like us. And so right now we're going through an application process to get an AI license. And because this region in general is, I think, way ahead and way far ahead than many other countries in terms of AI, you probably recently saw that DMAC and some other, I think it was DMAC, but a lot of the UAE large financial institutions are now investing in data centers in the U.S.
Yeah.
So because this region is definitely way far ahead, and then there's also the component of finding new talent. We are limited right now with all the projects that we are scaling into by having human capital. Much like a lot of things and people that probably tell you about AI, that's going to be fear and job elimination. In our sector, we feel that there's going to be a lot of job creation, because we need those AI scientists to understand the data input and output specific to biology and chemistry, which is the components to find new drugs. So we think we can come here and do what we do in Vancouver. I think I may have mentioned we are a Vancouver-based company. Scaling into this region allows us to also recruit some talent, because there's a lot of available talent here, and we can do that at a more efficient and cheaper way, and then obviously eventually raise capital, which we're doing today as well.
Yeah, definitely, because it's such a progressive, progressive country when it comes to AI, and they're really pushing to become this global hub for innovation. But from an investor point of view, the tech biospace has emerged in the last few years. Is that the future?
Yeah, I 1,000,000% think so. I'm very passionate. There's companies that have been backed by some of the chip makers, like one of the larger sort of, not a competitor, but a peer to us in a lot of ways, called Recursion, which is traded on the NASDAQ, got a $50 million check from NVIDIA. And this whole transition of the intersection of AI, machine learning, and computational math and drug discovery is so applicable of the problem-solving needs that require drug discovery to be successful, right? And there has been, and again, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but we think that is particularly in the US and around the world, science is being tested, and the number one tool to audit and test why drugs are not discovered or fail is using an AI tool, right? And so we think that it will forever change that sector, and will lead to cures, rare disease discoveries, and then really a shift to focus on longevity, right? So how do we keep people healthy instead of always trying to treat sick people?
Yeah.
So we think that every company that has been doing milestone sort of drug discovery, they may hit a milestone but never have discovered a drug, are going to have to implement some of the service model that we will have in those companies, because they're going to have to do two things. One, they're either going to have to build it themselves, hire AI scientists, get a platform.
Which is expensive.
Of course. Or two, with us at Diagen, we can come in and be your AI partner and start with potentially a project, and then go full scale with them at some point in time, almost like an AI as a service company, and make sure that we can cut that time away so that they can go out and, scale into the AI world, which they're going to have to do no matter what. It's not about if, but when.
It's a really interesting space, and I think, like you said, there's so much potential.
Yeah.
And making people healthy. I think that's great.
Totally.
I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Web3.
And we'll be bringing you more interviews. My name is Lisa Amnegard, and you're watching Web3 TV.